This video we're explaining chart limits and culture. This is for the VFR sectional and terminal area charts. So let's get right into it. The chart limits is a super small section. It's basically saying, hey, this is what the limits of our chart is going to look like. So we have an outline on sectional, terminal area charts, and inset charts. So these three charts, it's basically going to look like the same thing. They just might have different information depending on the actual outline part, whatever it's outlining. That's basically it for chart limits, and you can find more information on the following chart or a different chart. So with that done, let's look at culture. So culture, there's a lot of things here. Let's first look at railroads. You have single track, which is denoted by just a single tick on a straight line. You have double track, which is a double tick on a straight line. If you have more than two tracks, you will have the same double ticks, but it'll tell you like you have three tracks here. So if you have more than two tracks, it'll tell you how many tracks you have. If it's an electric one, it's just a single track and it has the word electric over it. If it's under construction or abandoned or non-operating, it'll be just single tick. This is kind of like its default state. You can think of it like that. And then if it's electric, you have electric on top. If it's under construction, abandoned, or not operating, it's going to be a broken line. Let's look at railroad yards. So a railroad yard could be like a whole blocked off part like this that's on top of the single track. You have location only, so if it's just a dot like this, you have actual stations, which are going to be little blocked out parts like this. You have sidings and short spurs like this, so if you have the railroad that goes off to the side, it'll be something that looks like this. So that's railroads. Let's look at roads. So you have a dual lane divided highway denoted by two lines. You have primary and secondary highways or roads. So a primary road is just going to be a single dark line, just like our dual lane divided highway, except it's only one. And then for the secondary, not primary, it's just going to be a light gray like this. We can look at road markers. These are pretty familiar. These are usually on maps. So if you have like Interstate 80, you have a route number, it's going to be like this. You also have air marked identification labels, which is going to be just a number in a box. If there's a road name, it's just going to be the name above the interstate or route. If something is under construction, it's going to look like a dual lane divided highway, but it's going to have under construction over it, and it's going to have these brakes inside of it. Typically, if you have something that's under construction, you're going to have brakes. That's pretty much it. This doesn't follow for the trails though, because you can see the trail also has like brakes in the line. This is specifically for trails, and that is what it's going to denote. Next, let's look at related features to railroads and roads. So if we have like bridges, viaducts, if you have a railroad that goes over it, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be a dark black. If you have road, it's just going to be a gray. You can see this right here. This is like a road, and this would be like a double interstate line. Not double interstate, a double divided highway line. This one right here, because there's two lines. You have causeways, overpasses, and underpasses. It'll look something like this. You also have tunnels, roads, and railroads, so it's going to look like this. If you have populated places, the place will be in a yellow tint, or it'll have a circle, and that will be in a yellow tint if the area is too small. You have three categories when describing like towns or cities or villages. So category 1 is the largest. Large cities are category 1, and it's where the population is more than 250,000. For cities and large towns are smaller than cities, this is a category 2, and it's when the population is between 25,000 up to 250,000. Now if we go smaller than that, we have towns and villages. These are category 3, and this is when the population is less than 25,000 people. So remember, three categories. 250,000 is for the largest, between 25,000 to 250,000, category 2 is middle, and then if you're super small, you're below 25,000, you're category 3. So that number is just one you're going to have to remember. Let's talk about boundaries. So you have international boundaries, you have state or province boundaries, and you also have convention or mandate lines. This is just something you're going to have to remember. International just has a red. State providence is basically the same thing as international, just without the red line on it. And then convention or mandate line is same line, but it has a dash on every other one. You have time zones, so this is pretty informative. It'll tell you what the actual time is. So like for this one, it's specific time. You have your date line. And lastly, miscellaneous cultural features, so dams, seawalls, breakwaters, all the stuff that you can just look over. You might see these on maps as well, like pipelines, underground pipelines is a broken line, power transmissions, you have landmark features, and so many more things. Look at this, you even have outdoor theaters and wells. You have a lot that is shown on the sectional charts. But that's going to be it. So just review over this last section. That's all for our culture as well as the chart limits. Next we're going to look at hydrography, and then we have relief. That's it for our VFR section.